because I was trying to get to the bottom of the P. Diddy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was doing my own research, Tony helps. We're doing stuff like that because I was trying to figure out, I kept seeing things on Twitter, like all the transcripts and this and that. And I was kind of like, what I would like is for you to compile a list of all the sexual things that happened. And then it just kept spitting out this weird thing where it goes, this is an ongoing trial and what's happened is this and this and this. And some people have said this. And I was kind of like, yes, but just the sexual stuff. And it would just spit the same thing. And I go, why aren't you answering my question?
Right.
And it was just like, it would spit the same thing. And
it can't?
Yeah, but normally...
Is it just like, oh, I'm doing my best, I just can't?
Okay, but normally when you ask, it says stuff like that, right? So normally when you're like, hey, why are you giving me that bad answer? It goes, oh, you're right. I did kind of, it talks to you like a human. It completely left that and went completely full computer mode.
I think Sam Altman was at a freak off?
And then I'm just saying, I went to Grok. I did the same thing. I go, I have all this other information. I'm like, I want you to spit me out a list of just the sexual things. Because obviously I'm just like, what's the funny parts of this?
Sure.
Has no interest in doing that. And it gives me the same spit out as ChatGPT.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering if certain things, there's like a government component where they want you to do something.
Or there's like a lag and this is just like recent information that's like on the internet.
Why would it give me the same one in the same way?
Yeah, maybe that's like the most recent, I don't know. Yeah, that is weird.
So somehow the P. Diddy stuff, and then I'm going on and you can read this stuff and some of the magazines even have it. So there's
been lots of coverage of the trial.
Right. So something fishy was going on.
Yeah.
But anyways, I went through all the articles and I'm trying to figure out because it was like they're finally doing the trial.
Yeah.
The girl.
Yeah, the main one.
Cassie, who's a singer, she does her testimony and she's just like straight up letting it fly.
Sure. Even though she got $20 million and signed an NDA, these hoes just cannot keep their mouths shut.
So how does that work?
I don't know. Well, I think like once you're in a trial, like if you're under
oath. She got 20 mil?
She got 20 mil, but if you're under oath, you can't just be like, I signed an NDA. It doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah. So now it's time to let her rip. She gets her cake and gets to eat it too.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Well, so her main thing is she was like, P. Diddy loves peeing on people.
Yeah.
She's like, he's on some R. Kelly shit.
Tootsie Roll dick.
That wasn't her. That was someone else.
Oh.
So someone else came out and this is the worst thing to happen. If you're just like on Weinstein got that too. They always do when they're on trial. They always hit them with like also his dick was small.
Yeah, nobody's on trial. They go, huge package.
Yeah.
Just massive rod.
Yeah, one guy.
Your Honor, I object.
You wink.
How's that pertinent?
You wink at the person drawing the courtroom pictures. It is lower. Yeah, that's the only thing that they object to.
Yeah.
But it does feel like, I think there's been like 4 or 5 trials where do you remember the guy that he was on trial for like indecent exposure and then his argument was his dick was so small you wouldn't be able to see
right,
it?
Yeah, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen of the trial.
I could not have done this.
Someone pans him and he said, nothing to see here.
We would like to introduce evidence.
Yeah, like
Exhibit A.
Like at the end of MacGruber.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the one girl came out and said he has a Tootsie Roll. She basically says his big thing is getting peed on. He likes her getting peed on.
Yeah, he loves piss.
He loves piss. A
lot of piss play.
It's a huge piss in oil sort of thing.
Yeah.
He likes the pools of oil.
Yeah, the oil likes guys pissing on the girls.
He likes the guy's semen wiped on him.
Oh, that fucking, those hotel rooms must stink.
I think they're not hotel. A lot of times they're his place.
No,
right?
A lot of times they're hotel rooms. That was a big thing in it. Is that like he had like this fixer and like he had all this staff and the staff was all just like, we have to get the hotel rooms, we have to get all the drugs, make sure there's tons of drugs, alcohol, like everything. Yeah. They got to clean the hotel room afterwards, like to make sure that like you keep your security deposit, all that stuff. Like they're just like the whole job.
That is funny, mate. Trying to make sure they get the security deposit, trying to get the oil out of things.
Because the room's covered in piss, so I guess it's P. Diddy, though.
It's the real dirty jobs.
Yeah, micro.
The PA on... It's like, oh, you're going to be a PA on Bad Boy Records. You're just some gangster dude that's like, pretty good job. You're like, what am I doing today? Like, going through, am I going to go through the new album so I can pick who we can sign? Or do you want me to do go through merch designs, maybe tour scheduling? You're like, pool full of baby oil that we need you to drink.
Grab a mop, please?
Also, I'm covered in piss if you can wipe me off.
You can hose me down. There's a pressure washer over there.
Yeah, so
piss smell out.
there's a huge part of it was piss. Male escorts, and he likes to. He fancies himself a director. He sort of likes to sit back in the chair
just
and
kinda
then
watch.
you fuck you and you do this.
Jack off his little Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, it would definitely suck that. It just feels like the Tootsie Roll thing seems. No, my point is.
I mean, that's a classic. Like,
this is gonna seem gay, but it just feels unlikely that he has. It feels unlikely that if I was a betting man, I would say Petey doesn't have a tiny horn.
no, that's like a Tootsie Roll's a legit micro penis.
Because it changes the dynamic of this whole thing. Instead of him being like a sexual deviant pervert, he's like now he's humiliating himself.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Because it was like. Okay, if he's.
I mean, that's a classic, though.
Wouldn't more people be saying he has a small dick?
Also, that
feels like
that is the classic, like, because, it's a chick who said it, and she's like, oh, and she goes,
dick small.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Also, well, there's one more thing. He's got a tiny dick.
Yeah. Also, his dick might have seemed small because he was bringing in all these like male models with like dingoes.
Yeah, compared to him,
he's bringing in all these 13 inchers.
Yeah. So probably, I think, that's probably.
Husband's got to watch this whole thing though. It's interesting, eh?
Oh, she's married now?
She's married now to some guy. She's preggo.
Oh, you think he's like, you think he knew he married a hoe?
I think he sort of probably knew about the P. Diddy stuff a bit. Like, well, she was like,
it was his girlfriend.
So imagine you found out you're just like, you dated a girl and she was like, my last boyfriend was kind of abusive and then that's all you know. And then she was like, oh, I used to do this deposition about it. And you're like, yeah, so he's like pissing and shitting on me for 7 years. Then he'd bring in 40 other guys, and I would just like lie there in a pool of fucking piss and baby oil. And then she was like, "Oh, my tongue had scabs on it from giving so much head to everyone." The boyfriend, you have to be sitting there like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be even worse if she's like, "So who's your last ex?" And goes, "Oh, it was P. Diddy." And he goes, "Oh, that's pretty cool. How was he?" He goes, "Oh, he was nice."
Is that what you'd say? That's pretty cool.
No, but he would be like,
"Oh, nice."
Like the guy was.
So I'm taking P. Diddy's slubbies. Me and Diddy are basically boys now. That's Danny.
Neat. That's pretty neat.
I definitely wouldn't be saying.
But then he asked her, what was he like? She goes, "Oh, he's nice." Like nothing else. Like you don't know any of this stuff until the trial. He goes, "What the fuck? He was shitting on you? You said he was nice."
There wasn't one time in the 8-year span you could leave. You're like, I had a man in a hold over me.
A contract.
So you're gargling the piss for 8 years. He's like, why did you go to the cops? You're like, you don't understand. You had me psychologically.
I had to gargle the piss.
I had no choice. And she's like, I'm covered in scabs and I'm still just giving the guy's head and all this stuff because P. Diddy made her. And you're just like, you go, it's one of those things where you go, agreed, all bad, but you're like, there's got to be.
There had to be an out here. There had to be an out.
You're like, you don't understand.
You can just like walk out and leave.
And she's like, no, I couldn't. Right. Well, what she says is Diddy's got all these videos of her doing this, and then he's going to release them revenge porn style. So she was into it for that reason.
Right. So, all right. Well, Diddy's going away, it sounds like.
Whatever. Maybe she couldn't leave, whatever it is. But regardless of how you think about it, being the boyfriend, having to listen to you, you'd be like, huh.
The kid? Oh, man, that kid's going to get fucking nuked when he's in elementary school.
And then all the other guys that come in, and then you're like, she's like, Diddy had it, and then Dave Blunt's took her for a spin, and then, I just happened to hear.
Dave Blunt shit on my chest. You go, oh my God.
You know what I mean? Just
not Dave Blunt shitting on you.
Just every rapper. Rick Ross came, took her for a spin, but again, she had no choice because of Diddy, and you go, yeah, okay. And she's getting pissed. She got pissed on by Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show, and you go, that Diddy made her do that one too? Okay, so I guess she had no choice, yeah.
And the New York Knicks, all of them, huh?
The entire New York Knicks came for the freak off.
The 2017 New York Knicks, all of them, and the Rangers. All right.
Okay, BJ Qualls came in. He took a dump on her chest. Okay, so that's...
He's gay, so that doesn't even...
Yeah, I guess what are you going to do? Diddy made me do it.
Diddy made you do what Diddy made you do.
Cameron took her for a spin. Yeah, and you're just like going through the list.
Tough.
Yeah, it's kind of a very... it's interesting that it has to...
Sounds like Diddy's done.
Okay, buddy, he's... he's done.
Yeah, like I'm curious because I guess his defense, they go second, right? Like in the way it works is essentially.
Do you think he comes out and he goes, "Who among us is not? Do you urinate?" So, have you ever had a situation where you're taking a piss and then like a drop gets on your pants? Would you consider that urinating on yourself? And he goes like an expert. And he goes, "Well, I guess technically, yeah, that would be urinating on yourself." So he goes, "What? So who among us has not urinated?"
Sure. We've all urinated on someone. Never been in a urinal and some splash, you taking a piss and some splash goes on the guy next to you?
So every man in this, so there's not a single, so you're telling me that there's not a single
innocent man in this house, in this courtroom,
who has not urinated on potentially another person. Sometime when you're having sex, some of that comes out as urine. It's like, so you're telling me it is humanly impossible to have zero urine ever come out on anyone ever at any point in your life.
It happens. Yeah, but that's the way it works is like,
now, let me guess, if you had urine that splashed back on your hand and then you shook someone's hand a couple hours later, would that technically?
Yeah, all the jurors are looking at their hands.
You go, I don't. The question: could a molecule of urine be transferred from a handshake, from splash, from a urinal? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case. There's not a, probably not gonna have it. I guess his whole thing is she's lying.
Yeah, she's lying. But that's the thing. The way it works,
she participated.
Trials is that essentially like the prosecution goes for like they have 2 weeks or whatever, like 3 weeks of their laying out their case, and then the defense goes second. So like the jurors have basically heard the whole story for multiple weeks of like her side, and then they have to have something crazy to like turn the whole thing around essentially. Because they have to go second. Like it's like a disadvantage to have to go second, but the defense always goes second.
Do you think that what they have is her like dancing to Necro's "Piss," the song? It's like it's her favorite song.
I mean, they probably. I find
out she's just like a piss fiend.
Dude, I saw something with because Weinstein has a trial right now. He has like a retrial.
Candace Owens and try to get him off.
Yeah,
they on a free Weinstein kick.
Yeah, he has a retrial going on right now, and this woman who like accused him, she was like this. I think she's somewhere in Europe or whatever, but she was like accused him when she was 16, and then they somehow like they were cross-examining her or whatever, and then they have her diary. And she's like, "How the hell did you get that?" And they like,
"How did they get it?"
I have no idea, but they like have her diary, and literally
that's a fucking mic drop.
Crazy, yeah. And they had her diary.
Lied to the jury today. Hee.
But they have her diary from when she was like 20 or something. She's like 40 now, and they have her diary, and they were like going through it, and essentially
love getting pissed on.
And she had like every man who wronged her, because like she's like a psychologist now, so she was on that kind of like, so she made this whole list of all these guys who like sexually assaulted her. And then Harvey Weinstein, there was just one entry, and it just says like, yeah, he said he'd help me with his career, nothing came of it.
So she had a list of men that assaulted her, and Harvey wasn't on the list.
No, it just said like he was in the men who wronged her, but it was like, yeah, he said he'd like help me with his career, with my career, nothing came of it.
And that was a big smoking gun?
Well, they're saying it's a smoking gun, and her whole thing is she's like,
how did they get that?
I don't know. They like, it was like some big thing where like they were having some big discussion in court of like, is it like admissible? And then they said like parts of it are, and they can ask certain questions around it, but they didn't have to divulge.
Someone must have stole it, obviously.
I guess it's like her diary from like when she was like a teenager, 20 years later.
So maybe they like paid off a brother.
Who knows, man? Who fucking knows?
The crazy part is the family.
You're like, okay, Harvey Weinstein. They probably cost $10 million to do this trial for him, and you're like, okay, so you're exonerated. You're like, you still have like 50 other guilty charges. Like, it's like doesn't even do anything. Like, I don't even know. What the point
so he has. Well, I guess if you get off on one, you just get off on the rest.
Yeah, maybe.
If I'm being completely honest, though. Let's imagine you're a guy that has like $100 million and you're serving like sentences till you're probably dead. You're like,
what do you give a shit?
What would you rather do?
Yeah.
Be in court and meeting with your lawyer, or sitting around, potentially getting shanked?
Right, that's true.
That's what happened. Tory Lanez just got shanked.
I saw that. He got stabbed like 14 times or something.
20, I thought.
Oh, maybe more.
How many Chauvin, or maybe it was Chauvin that got stabbed 20?
I don't know. Tory Lanez got stabbed a lot. Yeah,
but he's apparently he's gonna be fine. But the stabbing's it's those crappy little prison knives, so it doesn't really get you.
Oh, they get you.
If you get stabbed 20 times with a real knife, you're probably dead.
Yeah. But it's way worse because it's like you're getting some rusty fucking hepatitis like shank thing.
I know.
Yeah, not good.